Hey, so welcome everybody to this new video. Today is great for two reasons. First of all, we have about 100% cloud coverage, so there's no sunlight around, it's just this very diffused ambient light all over the place. So that's great for photography. And secondly, the last couple of days it has gotten cold very rapidly. So I think that autumn is approaching quite quickly, and this just creates such a moody atmosphere, and I really like shooting in these conditions. So let's go. I quite like the tree over there. It looks like it has great structure and I quite like the yellow color. That's really interesting. The issue is just from this angle, there's a lot of distraction in the foreground. So I think I'm just going to walk down the way a little bit further and see if I can get a better angle, a better viewpoint on that tree. So I'm going for a framed up shot, which means I'm using a couple of leaves and branches from trees which are standing right in front of me to frame up this one yellowish tree in the distance and kind of use it as a frame made by nature, just to get rid of all the distractions and really focus on the one tree that I have in mind. But to be honest, so I think it's cool as an idea, but it doesn't quite work as I was hoping for, because some of the leaves are invading my frame, totally distracting, and there's not enough like punch and saturation to the color of this yellow tree to really stand out. It's just kind of washing in with all the other surroundings and elements in my frame. So I mean, I think it was worth the effort, but I should probably just go back to the place that I was in the beginning and frame it up from there. I think that will be better. I'm going as close as I can to this gate, just because it allows me the best angle, so I can remove any of the trees on the field which otherwise would be distracting. And also I'm going as high as I can, again for the same reason, to get rid of some distractions in the foreground. It's not ideal because these rocks, this gravel that I'm standing on, it's not the most steady, especially with the tripod fully elevated. So I don't want any vibrations in my image. Maybe have to take this image a couple of times just to be safe. So I quite like this composition. The only thing that's missing is a polarizer, because it's incredibly lifeless. There's way too less saturation in there, because autumn is still in the very beginning, so to speak. So just gonna add that over here, and up my exposure, and that should be just fine. So I quite like the composition and I quite like the colors, however it's just incredibly flat and incredibly lifeless. We would need to proceed further into autumn for this composition to be really great. Maybe I'm going to return in a couple of weeks, who knows. But I think these conditions, like the ambient diffused light that I've described earlier, I think it works way better with some moody compositions, because the colors just don't have any saturation, any life to them right now. So I would say I'm just going to keep on going and try and find some more moody conditions, moody compositions, where the conditions will actually align with the composition. Well, this is a lot more moody. I just don't think there's an image over here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Have a look over here. This path over here. It looks so dark, so foreboding. And also like the leaves, they look like they've been aged, or almost like a rainforest. Some ancient forest over here. Should I frame up the way? I don't know. Maybe on the way back. I want to just continue, because if you have a look in the sky, it will get dark very soon. Man, it just looks so dark, so foreboding over here. That is exactly what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned the conditions. That's great. If you can find some compositions, right? I think I found something that might work as an image. Have a look over there. You can see that all these bushes, they look interesting just because of the way all the leaves are growing. But they have some ambient light on them, which kind of makes them stand out from everything else, because everything else is just in shade. Because the last little bit of light is coming down from over there and perfectly hitting these bushes. So that might just work. And also I'm going to use the way as a leading line. Yeah, just going to try, that might work. Even though I'm really unsure about this shot, I've decided to set up tripod because I want to try something. So it looks really interesting to the eye, especially what I mentioned earlier with the ambient light just hitting these bushes, but everything else kind of in shade and just makes them stick out. So to emphasize the structure and a little bit of light hitting these bushes, I've decided to zoom in quite a bit, and then I'm going to make a panorama out of like maybe 2 to 3 shots, so that I can still get the way, the leading line leading further into the distance, into the darkness. And yeah, it might just be quite interesting. So it's so dark, it already gives an exposure time of almost 2 seconds. So focusing on the bushes, making sure my camera is in timer, don't want any vibrations, and take the first shot. Just hoping that it will stitch together seamlessly later on. But I think we should be fine. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I do quite like the process behind this image. So write a comment if you like it. I'm really curious. Also, this is getting quite sketchy over here. Just there's so much noise from the wind rattling through the leaves, and you always think there's like some deer in the distance, just gonna come out of nowhere and scare you. So it doesn't really make any sense to head further into the forest just because the light is already fading so quickly. So I think I'm just going to go back, and the scene where I was earlier, where I said this is such a foreboding path and looks so darkish, this might just become even better with, well, even less light now. So might as well take an image of that if it looks even better now. Let's have a look. So I quite like this image. It's really the colors of this green, and everything is so overgrown. It looks so moody, so much atmosphere to the shot. Oh. This really looks like the entrance to some ancient old jungle quest or something like that. Almost like a movie, like a Hollywood movie, and then you're entering this really dark old moody forest and everything's just overgrown and you know there's some bad stuff about to happen. This is exactly how it feels like. And then, you know, as I've mentioned earlier, with the way you can just look around the curvature quite a bit, I want to create depth to this image. And I think I can do that by allowing you to look around the curvature and to look further onto the way, into the distance. So it just gives more of this illusion of where this way is leading. And I think by placing myself a little bit off to the side, having this balanced frame, and then you being able to look a little bit around this curvature, just getting your imagination going, I can really achieve that. Yeah, then the panorama format obviously works and helps to frame it all up and not have too many distractions on top or on the bottom of the image. It just really focuses on the balance, the darkness, the path leading on into the distance. Also, it looks really, really cool in black and white. So maybe I'm going to show you both versions. We'll see. So if you also enjoy my images, I have a course available. It's the first link in the description, and I teach you everything you need to know about landscape photography. For example, if you have a composition like this, how to properly frame it up. So everything you need to take into account when being out in the field, tips and tricks, settings of your camera, post-processing, everything there's to know for you to start out. I'm teaching you everything. Check it out, you might be interested. Or if you like my images, you may want to have some of them framed up on your wall as a print. I have some of them available. It's also in the description. I'm almost back at the car, but far over there in the distance, there's a group of trees, as always on this channel, a group of trees. No, but I quite like the structure, the texture on some of these trees, and most importantly, the way they interact with each other. It just looks really interesting. One of them is quite diagonal. It's not quite straight, but the leaves in there look super interesting. One of them is half dead. The rest of it just looks like dead wood. So for a composition like that, the light is absolutely perfect because it's this really diffused light. There's no harsh spot. Everything is being lit up with the same luminosity, with the same intensity. Don't know if that's the right word, but it just works perfectly for lighting, having the scene being lit up equally. That's what I wanted to say. Also, I quite like the background because even though I'm fully zoomed in, they're just quite blurry because the relative distance from the group of trees that I'm photographing and the distance is just so large. So all of them are blurry, but you can still just see the texture on them and some of the autumn colors already. Quite like that. So over there at the horizon line, you can see the sky just this little bit of magenta pinkish color. Yeah, there's no image there. I'm not gonna just shoot nothingness just for the color. Oh man, and like there's a slight breeze and it's already chilling. It has gotten so cold so quickly the last couple of days. It's incredible. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe. Write a comment, this really helps the channel. If you want to see more of my videos, there's an on-location playlist in the description. Apart from that, thank you for the support and see you in the next one. Bye.